Okay, so with our poly groups separated now, let's carry on. We'll finish off at least this side of the hair. So back to our curve brushes, and again, Katie, I'm going to have to ask you to move out the way a little bit. We need a bit more space as I get towards the back here. I can almost see that we need a hair strand coming down here just to bridge it off, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So let's just start. 28 is a bit too big. Yeah, it's massive. So let's go size 17. Why not? Let's do a 17, and we'll bring that. We'll kind of bring that sweeping across over here, but I do want to be careful that this is not too... Actually, you know what? Let's flare it out. Flare it out. Maybe not too much, but we'll kind of flare it around there a little bit. And you can see we can do this because the end, we locked it at the very beginning. We locked the, so not the end, the start. We locked it at the start there, so we can afford to do this. So I'm going to leave this little bump here like that. That's fine. I'm going to fix that. Can I push it underneath? I can. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. And I'll just sort of push that in. I want to kind of twist it around a little bit. There we go. Okay, but it's still locked in there, and it has sunk in a bit, so let's lift it up, out and over. There we go. It can be easier to do it like this without the move brush activated. It's just a lot of minor adjustments. Always adjust from the start, and you'll find that the rest tends to fall in line, like there, for example. That was very nicely done. Okay, let's alt click, and we'll just do a bit of refinement just to make sure, like there, for instance. So here, just want to bring him down, and I'll kind of lift up the back, but kind of push down the front. Same for that. And here I'm going to close it in as well, close it in. And we are clipping on the ear just slightly, so let's push it all back. And don't worry if you thin it out, that's fine, because, you know, these hair strands are representative of a lot of strands. So these hair cards are representative of a lot of strands all at the same time. So if it starts to thin out at the little part there, don't worry about it too much, that's fine. Okay. So one thing as well, this is not too applicable to this stage right now, but later on when we start making more A hair cards, we will actually start to taper it towards the end as well. But like I said, we're not there just yet. So let's go back, size 18 this time, let's play around, and I'm just going to do some that fall straight down here. Well, some that fall down here and some that fall down there, but the majority will fall towards the ponytail. Let's do one, for instance, now that just falls there. It's strand size 18. It looks a little bit big, so I might undo that. I might choose to do a 15 size strand. Oop, bit wobbly there. Let's have it straight. Going straight down. Just lift that up, lift that over. There you go, you can see the effect that that's having. And this one, I want to flare that out a little bit too. Okay. And I'll leave that for now. This strand next door, I'm going to put that one there. I'm going to bring it back around to the ponytail, this one. Okay, so that's going to be a ponytail strand. Again, always start from the beginning when you start to tweak stuff, just so that the rest of it can fall in line. If you tweak the ends first and then you tweak the start, it can get a little bit wobbly, a bit too wobbly. Okay, before I do anything else, just let's fix these guys up a little bit. So you come up a bit. It's fine. I want this strand to be on top of the one I've just drawn, so I'm going to push this one underneath him. And this one here, I'll I'll just tweak it like that. It doesn't matter if it clips, so to speak, that's fine. There we go. And this one here, I'm going to have to get a bit more tight with this one because I'm going to need to wrap the ponytail up at some point. And also I'm going to kind of push that in like this. Okay, so there we go. A lot of the strands, like ones here for instance, have not been kind of curving in, so that's my fault. Let's just do that now with the move topological brush. We just kind of push them in like that. Okay, just so it doesn't get too clumpy around there. It's got a poly frame, and the one I drew straight down is the, where is it? This is purple one sitting on top. So let's just sit him on top and make sure he just doesn't clip as much as he is at the moment. And then similar to before, you could actually use your standard brush for this if you wanted, but I'm going to use my move brush. Just basically close in some of these hair cards a bit more. So we've got quite a tall one here. Let's just push them down. So we want to build up that volume gradually. We want to build up that volume, but we want to do it gradually. Anything too steep will betray realism. So yeah, just a bit of fine tuning here and there. Okay, and that green strand, that's obviously going to flick out there, so that can stay, no problem. But we can push that purple strand back in. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you can start to see now it's a bit more smooth. We're getting a smoother effect, and of course, don't forget, we can always subdivide this stuff if we want to later on. Okay, although that might be a bit too high poly. This one here, just looking at this turquoise one, so I think this turquoise one I might actually push underneath the rest of the A hair cards at the moment. So let's push them underneath. There we go. So he's almost going to kind of ride through underneath the rest of the A hair card planes and just kind of come out the bottom here. I reckon that's quite a cool effect to have. There we go. Okay, right, let's do a few on the back here. We'll just do very standard ones. We'll take size 18s, a little bit on the bigger size, and we'll just do some strands kind of going straight down here. So I'm actually going to turn the head on its side. I like to start one here, so let's start one there. We'll go straight down. Very, very straightforward. Okay, we'll just adjust it slightly. There we go. We're not going to add much variance to that. Maybe a slight curve on it just to stop it looking too straight. Okay, that's fine, accept. Let's do another one. Kind of make it cross over. That one, actually, these are a bit too big, so let's do a size 16. Vary the size a little bit. Have that one kind of sit over the top of the one we've just drawn. Again, just for variance. And okay, so we're going to have to push that in later, that's fine. And we'll do one, we'll go back to this side here, and let's do one that just kind of comes across there. So bring it back to the middle, pull it up, like so. Get a bit more of a curve on that, so it looks a bit nice, a bit more nice. And tweak that in there, like so. Okay, that's fine, and let's do one overlapping this one. Bring that back to the middle, lift it up. Okay, and then we'll do one more. Oops. Okay. So you might be thinking, well, when are we actually going to do the ponytail? The ponytail is actually going to be a sort of an add-on to this part here. So right now we're not really, actually this one I'm going to kind of keep it underneath the rest there. Okay, because we're going to basically have a point where there's going to be the bow, or the part where it's going to get tied to. So basically from the tie or the bow that we create for the ponytail, we'll emerge the actual ponytail hair cards from there. So we're kind of doing a ponytail hair mesh into two parts. We're doing the part that sits over the head and the part that hangs down the tail separately. Okay, so if you're just wondering why aren't we just drawing strands out into an inevitable ponytail, yeah, you could. There's absolutely nothing stopping you from doing that. It's just that's not generally the way I do it. So one thing I'm going to do here, now that I've kind of somewhat happy with my hair cards, I'm just going to use the general move brush and just kind of push this in. Why? Because if we look at our reference, you can see there that we have a ponytail hair. That's basically, it would be lower than that, but it's got to be, it's got to kind of keep at some point. It's going to kind of curve. Kind of here, curve a little bit like that. Not too much, just something, just a little bit. Okay, so it's just got to kind of gather somewhere down here. And we've yet to make any hair that kind of comes up out the back as well. Okay, so depending upon how low your ponytail is, you're still going to have some hair at the back here. Okay, so we will have to come in and do that at some point. But I was very just keen to get onto the hair cards for this point in time to show you, so the A hair cards to show you variance essentially. Okay, so we've got to tidy the roots up a little bit. Again, clipping is inevitable, but let's try to minimize it where we can. Let's put polygroups on so we can see this blue one. Let's put him down. This brown end, let's put him down. Okay, I'm going to use my mouse for this part because it's a bit more accurate. There we go. My hands are always a little bit wobbly still with a stylus. So, there we go. Okay, just playing around with some of the cards. Yellow go down. Okay, got a little pink part sticking out there. Got some orange fighting going on here. Okay. Alright. So if you want to see what that looks like somewhat smooth, you can mask out the head mesh and subdivide it. And you can sort of see what it's done there. Just kind of giving us extra kind of layers. The only problem is you actually hit smooth, it does tend to depress a bit, so don't be so tempted to do that. Okay, I wouldn't subdivide it in the first place at all anyway. I just wanted to show you what it would look like if you did. And you can see we've got creased edges actually. So if we maybe decreased all that, uncreased it all, and then subdivided it, oh, we still get that. Okay, that's fine as well, doesn't matter. Okay. So if you're worried about it being too low poly, don't worry, there's always a subdivide to come in and rescue us a little bit later on. Okay, but we shouldn't really have a need for that anyhow, as we've been quite meticulous with all this so far. Okay, so right now you can see that at the front here, the layers are starting to build up naturally, but we're still lacking that towards the back here. Okay, so what we have to do is come in now and add a few more A strands just on the top here, just to kind of flesh it out a little bit. So size 17, let's go for it. There's a gap here, perfect, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and we'll just again make it raise up above the rest, kind of make more volume in the hair. Just be aware of where that volume kind of sits. Should sit around there, but then curl back in afterwards. Okay, so this one's a bit tricky. This is why I say, you know, there's different ways of looking at this in terms of getting it right. Let's use the move brush. So I have created a strand here that I do like, but it is overlapping one that I very much saw as being above it. So this vertical one that's coming down here. So I don't mind it kind of covering the others that I've drawn down here. Okay, that's fine, but this one I do want it to lose out to this vertical strand coming down here. So let's see what that looks like from here. Okay, so let's just pull that down. Okay, let's go to the rest of the head mesh and adjust. So bring the purple up and over. You've got to decide where that's going to overlap. It can overlap about, can overlap about there. That's fine, and blue is happy being there. Okay, right. Back to more strands. Let's go size 17. We're missing one here. We could definitely do with one there. So let's do a wavy one. Kind of a wavy one. Get that right. Okay. And then adjust. It's funny, every time I select it, it changes polygroup. That's a funny little side effect I didn't realize was going on. Wow, I'm sorry polygroups. You're having a hard time. Every time I touch it, it's changing. You're changing polygroup. It's not necessary, but fair enough. You do you, polygroup, you do you. Okay. Let's just accept that. We'll move it with the move brush. There you go, prioritizing volume on the top. And then here we'll just kind of make it stick a little bit more to the rest of the head. Oops. There we go. Okay. Good, looking good, looking good. Let's keep going. Let's keep the steam rolling. Let's do a size 15. We've had a lot of 18s and 17s. Let's do a 15. We'll do a 15. Why don't we do one that kind of... We'll do an adventurous one. We'll do one that weighs all the way out there. Why not? Okay. And get the root in the right place. Maybe a bit more towards the back. And pull them out. You can see it's starting to get wrapped up in the rest of the ponytail layers now. Okay, oops. Selected the other subtool by accident. Okay. So just raise the back up a little bit. And that looks pretty good. That's a nice hair strand. Quite unique. It overlaps the other side of the hair, which is cool. It's nice to have. And let's just do a few more. Size 16. Let's go do some just going relatively straight down. Yes. There we go. Raise it up a bit. There we go. That's nice. Okay, happy with that. Let's do one more. Root in the right place. Lift them up. Up you go. Okay, whoops, we need a bit of adjustment for this one. Use our move brush. Pick them up. Okay. Okay. So let's have a look at our hair mesh, sorry. Yeah, it's coming along pretty well. Okay, so you can see there we haven't got a lot of action really going. It's still following the kind of general strokes of the base hair we have underneath, but that's at this stage, like I said before, that's what we're kind of aiming for at the moment. We're not looking for too much variance yet, although we do have some variance with the strands that just go straight down here as well. So we do have them, but it's not really a focus at this point in time to have too much variance. It's just kind of covering the base hair with some more smoother, more interesting kind of shaped A-hair cards. Okay. At least that's what I call them. I think I remember seeing them being referred to as A-hair cards from a presentation I saw a long time ago. It might have been the Lumen Final Fantasy tech demo, actually, now I think about it. We had B-hair and A-hair, and A-hair designated like the major stroke hair, and the B hairs was all the fine, like very beard, fine. If you were making a beard, basically, that's the kind of hair that B hair was. Okay, so again, just spending a bit of time trying to reduce the amount of clipping going on. It's a lot of kind of conceding territory. Okay. Again, having everything be a different polygroup really is such a helpful thing. So thank you, ZBrush, for being so helpful. Okay. I would almost say that that's one side sort of complete, but not just yet. I'm interested in adding some more A-hair cards yet. So we will probably spend one more video just fixing this side, and this side is basically going to be a template for the other side, and I'll leave it up to you as to whether or not once you finish this side, if you'd like to just mirror it over. Although I don't think I'll be doing that. I may do that initially, but I certainly won't be leaving it as the final product. But yes, there's nothing stopping you from mirroring it over if you'd like to do that to the other side. Okay, you can absolutely do that. I'm kind of giving you advice ahead of time in case you want to rush ahead, because I understand this part can be a bit slow to watch. It's just someone kind of doing the same process over and over again, which is not very entertaining, I understand. Okay, so there you go, guys. Right, so hopefully you're having quite a bit of fun doing that. I am. It's a bit chaotic at times, but it is a good result in the end. Okay, fantastic. So let's spend one more video and we'll just we'll flesh out the back a little bit more. The front's starting to look pretty good, and we'll add in some variants here and there as well.